making me sit down and work. I usually just sit and listen, but now I'm actually going to participate. So I'd really like to welcome Bengt and Michael from De La Val. And De La Val is a company dedicated to making sustainable food production possible. Founded in 1883 by Gustave de Laval and Oscar Lamb, it has a rich history of innovation in the dairy industry. As part of the Tetra Laval Group, De Laval has approximately 4,700 employees, operates in 100 markets around the world, providing integrated solutions, including milking equipment, services, and advisory support. An innovative company with a strong focus on animal welfare and cutting-edge technology. So I'd like to welcome Michael Sand, who's the Siam process manager, and Bengt Alverborg, who's the operational lead. Together they've been deeply involved in Siam implementation at De La Val, and we're so excited to hear your journey and what you've learnt along the way. So we're going to do this as a question and answer session, but I'm sure you'll be happy to take questions from the audience as we go through.
Super happy.
Super happy.
Yeah.
So this is me multitasking. I'm going to be watching the clock, asking you questions.
But maybe we can have questions afterwards, so we make sure that we get...
That's fine. We'll do that. Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Yeah, as many of you, we have been in the IT. We have been in the IT world for, as you say, 20 years plus. And in a variety of areas, from sort of extensive outsourcing, public management, providing services within telecom, and managing and building governance framework models. So, yeah, would you like to add something?
No, I have similar background. An engineer, worked with Ericsson for a long time, and I think the gentleman from Finnair, I forgot your name now, but your background was very similar to mine. I've worked with marketing, I've worked in product management, and many different areas, and then I landed with service management for the last 10-15 years or so. Yeah, so that's about us.
Fantastic. You can see your marketing influence on your beautiful gilets.
Aren't they nice? Yeah.
Absolutely on brand.
Our company doesn't give us so much things, so we asked for this now, since we're representing De La Val.
You need it for the snow that's coming later.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about the journey of De La Val's Siam implementation?
Sure, yeah, I can start. So we started quite some time ago with everything was in-house. We had about 150 employees in the IT department, yeah. And then it was decided to outsource everything. So we cut down the IT department to just a few persons and got 4 major suppliers that provide everything that has to do with our IT. And we noticed that was working not so well, so it was decided then to let's start a Siam project. I think it was our former manager who started this. And we hired a consultancy company to tell us what Siam was. They worked for many years, and we spent lots of money on them, but yeah, and it was decided let's start a Siam pilot. So we outsourced the Siam then to one of our incumbent operators to be the integrator. We did that, and that was a pilot, and then Michael and I were thrown in as these roles we have. And we suffered through this pilot, and we realized that this was not really what we wanted, so we decided to take it back again in-house to do it ourselves. So we're now our service integrator. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it all. Yes.
We're getting some similarities with Finnair, aren't we now? Yeah. Definitely. So what were some of the key challenges you faced during the transition from in-house to fully outsourced services?
Yeah, well, during this journey we faced numerous challenges and different different nature. In the initial phase, we were really sort of drowning in quality issues and managing major incidents and things like that. And that was what sort of gave birth to the SIAM idea. We had a lot of dialogues with our service providers and contractual disputes and things like that. But then during and after having sort of embarked on the SIAM journey and taken on the SIAM project, our IT organization had changed, so new staffing and we struggled with keeping pace and moving the project forward. So that was a huge challenge. And also when we saw the result and what came out of it, we had a hard time to understand and question what we saw, and looking at the sort of end-to-end perspective and valuing that and sort of understanding our current state and ambitions. So, yes.
Yeah, and another challenge that we had, I thought we were finished, sorry. Another challenge we've seen that everyone else has also is apparently the collaboration part, that the vendors, they cared only about their own contracts and their own deliveries, and they didn't see the whole picture. So the collaboration was non-existent, more or less. Yeah, so that was another key challenge.
And also to add just something to that was that we saw almost the same result than before, and that goes back to this questioning and understanding what we wanted to see and the strategy behind it that we lacked. So yeah, maybe that was, yes. You're right.
So you really understood the challenges, the frustrations you were facing. So what was the turning point in the journey that made you realise you needed to make a change?
Yeah, after sitting through numerous boring and pointless meetings, we realized that we didn't get any value from the SIAM integrator, nor from the vendors really, but the SIAM integrator. We didn't get any. We could do it ourselves. We could the numbers. They were just presenting numbers which we could see ourselves in our ServiceNow system, and they were claiming that they were doing SIAM, but they were just doing the same thing as they were doing before, with like no added value. So then we said we can do this better with the few resources we have, which is us. Yeah.
And what we saw was the same reporting. We didn't see anything different from what we had before. So we understood that we had expected something else than what we were given. That was the turning point.
Thank you. It sounds like it was a courageous step to decide to make a different decision and do something to bring the services back to you. So how did you approach the task of starting over and redefining your goals and strategies for service integration and management?
Yeah. While this was going on, we realized that there were a few things missing. And we understood, based on seeing the same thing as we saw before, that the setup lacked the understanding of perspectives, that different organizations have different drivers, and we see things that they don't see. And we realized, looking at their reports, that we didn't share the purpose and the targets that we had. They had different targets and different ambitions, and they were just pushing, giving us reports on that. And also, of course, something that Bengt has really tried to promote, and that is collaboration and to prioritize that and the need to support it. And it was just the same, no collaborative environment. And also shared values. That is also something that, I mean, there are a few things in process that you can formalize, but there are basic important things, pillars that we valued, that we didn't see. So we decided we need to start from a sort of blank canvas and redo the whole thing from bottom and up and sort of building something new foundation.
Fantastic, thank you. Bengt, anything to add?
No, that was that was good. Totally agree.
Yeah.
But you have something to add.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, very good.
That's something that we have talked about a lot. That is the single source of truth, and because to support this, a common target and managing the perspectives, we realized that we needed to have a single source of truth for our data and information, and also meaningful reporting. Mm-hmm. So that is required to sort of support what we believe was important.
Fantastic. So I know that you did a lot of analysis into the reports that you need and the things that are important to your internal stakeholders and your external customers. And you've mentioned meaningful reporting. So I understand it's based on the data, information, knowledge and wisdom pyramid. Can you tell us a little bit about
Absolutely.
More about that
so
process?
This is my favorite. I used to be a service manager for many years, doing this normal service manager reporting, which I realized was more or less crap. we just so now when I was sitting here as operational lead and having to listen to this, they were only reporting numbers. So if they were saying, yeah, we had 2,000 incidents last month, and the month before it was 1,953, and we have 62 of this and 912 of that. What does that tell us as a customer? Nothing. There was no added value to that. There was no wisdom. There was no... They're the ones delivering the service. They know what these numbers mean. We don't. So if I come to say to you that, yeah, we had 12 apples in the garden this month, yes, what? So what? So I've been pushing now, or we've been pushing, but me as the leader to make our vendors deliver reporting which is meaningful. And then we come to this ITIL. Does everyone know this? DIKW, of data in the bottom, then you have information, knowledge, and at the top of the pyramid there's wisdom. So we want to push these vendors from delivering data and information to knowledge and wisdom. What do these numbers mean? What does this change mean? What is this, if there was a deviation, what does it mean? Why did it happen? Not just saying that, oh yeah, look, there was twice as many incidents this month and now go to break. No, tell us more. So that's something, we call that meaningful reporting, that we're still in the process. The vendors don't understand. They are very happy with just gathering their normal reports from their systems. They're coming up numbers and some graphs, and they sit and read those to us, but it doesn't, I can see that anyway. There's no point. Send them to me, I'll look at them before. But tell us what they mean. Tell us what's the reason behind it, what's going on, and what do we do to take care of it going forward. Does that cover it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have anything to add to my wonderful description of meaningful reporting? I really think you should push your vendors also and your integrator. Give you a report. Does anybody else feel this when you sit there and they just say things? Most people just sit and nobody even cares. Mm-hmm. When I was a service manager, now I'm going on a limb here, but like some months they skipped the meeting, like in July. I still made the report. Nobody even looked at it. I threw in some jokes in it and fake numbers, and nobody noticed. So but they were still, we had to have the monthly reporting. So we're sitting there and giving them the report. But nobody cared. Nobody understood anything, basically. Unless you worked with it for 20 years and then someone saw, oh, yeah, that's actually a big change. And then, but if you don't, yeah, so yes.
But one thing also, the reporting was very traditional. Discrete value on a monthly basis. And I mean, it could be up, it could be down, it could be up, and no one sort of could see the pattern. I mean, we have sophisticated tools today, which we have used, analytics, to really compile statistics that are meaningful, and to present something that means something for the ones that we presented to.
But we do that ourselves. We don't get that from our vendors at all, and we didn't get that from the service integrator, who claimed it's a huge multinational company costing a lot also. They claimed that they were good at SIAM, but we think they just said that to get more money from us, but they really didn't provide any SIAM the way we wanted it. Yeah.
Thank you. So what you're looking for, a meaningful interpretation of that data, aren't you? To understand what it means to you, to your business, to your users.
Yeah. The numbers we can read ourselves. What do they mean?
Yeah.
And they are so far from what we actually want to see. So yeah. No, yeah. I mean, what we were, what was presented to us, was so far from what we could experience. Yes. So I mean, it was not meaningful reporting.
There's a great quote about, I'm going off topic now, the difference between knowledge and wisdom. I'm sure some people in the room have heard this before. It's from Miles Kington, who's a UK author. He said the difference between knowledge and wisdom is that knowledge is you know that a tomato is a fruit. Yeah. Wisdom is you don't put it in a fruit salad. So exactly. You take that knowledge, you do something with it, you apply it, you learn from it, you change your services, you deliver it, but the raw data on its own doesn't give you the value that you need.
No, and they almost didn't give us the knowledge either. Yeah. I mean, they presented numbers, to be frank. So it's, yeah.
So I think this is following on very nicely from that question, and I think I want to expand the question a bit. So you had difficulty with the service integrator not giving you the intelligence that you need. So what was your value of perspective? How would you ask them to report in the first instance? And then how did you get them to change or to bring back your service in-house so that you could start to do meaningful reporting? So you're asking here about the value of perspective and how it influenced your approach to running the SIAM service.
No, we understood that we must have a common ground, and we didn't have that. So we understood that we needed to build that. So that was really the starting point to define metrics and KPIs that meant something for us, and to support collaboration and working with that based on that. And from our experience in outsourcing environments, we realized that was important to consider.
So you needed to make that decision to change what you were doing.
Yeah, and build as me in my role as a process owner to set the expectations and ensure that the different service providers, process managers work towards that goal and share that view. So we built a dashboard and KPIs that we shared with our service providers, made it available for them, for all of them, to share the end-to-end view.
Thank you.
Yeah, and from an operational perspective, the value of perspective is also then to create a sense of team and sense of we, and get our vendors then to understand that we're working towards a common goal, which is to provide services to our end users in our cases, our end users. So to foster teamwork and collaboration, we worked a lot on that, setting up the governance in a way that the vendors can actually, I don't know who said that they talk with each other, that we cut us out. They don't come to us and whine and say that this company B doesn't help us. Well, you have their number. Please talk. We can't, we need to work together towards a common goal.
So please could you talk us through what your new SIAM model is? And you've just mentioned governance. So the model that you've created and implemented and the way that you govern the delivery of that model to your users.
Yes. Good. So when we of course the service integrator, they had a fairly large organization, and then when Michael and I were told that we would run it, we were only 2 persons. So we had to focus on simplification and making the whole structure much more lean, which in part then also empowered the vendors to do more themselves, and not having the service integrator run everything, but actually the vendors also communicating. So we set up, we started on the KPIs and setting up goals. And then mostly Michael actually started digging into ServiceNow and we set up KPIs and dashboards so we can easily follow the situation, and that's where we realized we didn't need the data and information from the vendors because we could see it ourselves and much better than that.
Yeah, we needed to do that because we were given. No, we needed to do that because otherwise we would have been given completely different reporting views, not sort of aligned.
Yeah. And then of course we also then simplified the governance. One by one, people are leaving. The break is soon, but not yet. You're not allowed to leave. Anyway, so we tried to simplify the governance also, breaking it down into 3 major parts. So we have what I call focus meetings. So we look at the KPIs and our targets, and then we look at specific area which we then have, we address that in the focus meetings. For instance, backlogs, or what was it more? Aged tickets, aged incidents. And by putting this, what we call a focus on them, we managed to cut those down. Everything we look at, we make really good progress in those. So we have, anyway, focus meetings where every week we do that for incident and service request, and we also have and in change and in improvement board, and then we have an improvement board. Now you confused me. But we have 3. So there's the process meetings or improvement meetings. We have the operational focus meetings, and then we have internal governance where we present the numbers upwards towards our stakeholders. Which finally, I think they're starting to see that there's a point of having SIAM because we actually achieve things.
Internally and also with our service providers, based on what we see, we agree on and promote to encourage to suggest what we can do to achieve that, and to propose that, and we bring in those ideas internally and discuss that, and have a sort of improvement board where we decide what to take on and work on.
Excellent, thank you. So what lessons did you learn from your outsourced SIAM experience, and what would you advise others to be wary of?
If you don't have this common ground and understand the different perspectives that you have, what we experienced was that the service providers tend to do as they always have done, and the service integrator has a hard time to deal with that. And the service integrator just collated the different reports and did not so much about it. So yeah, and the other was that related to that if you don't have targets, your own targets, you will have the service provider's targets, and they will work with that and towards that. So you need to give them your targets.
And another thing I think is to know what you want, learn what SIAM is. Of course, we all know that here, but the organization needs to do that and not just trust a consultant or someone when they say they know what SIAM is. You need to learn and figure out yourself what you want to get out of SIAM. That's a lesson learned, I think.
Thank you. So what significant achievements would you like to highlight since you've taken over the SIAM function?
Yeah, we talked a lot about the achievements, and we haven't been mentioned so many times in this conference here, but I'd say since we took over SIAM, we cut down all KPIs that we set up with at least 50%, and some we cut down to 99%. Cut down with 99, so it's 1% less. That was the approval times for service requests. We cut that down from weeks to hours, for instance. But lead times, incident resolution times 50% down, service request deliveries 50%. The incident backlog. We actually help the suppliers or vendors with their own work, because they had these extremely long backlogs of tickets which were lying around. And of course, if you have 300 or 500 incidents that are open and active, you have to spend time on those. You don't know which ones you look at, so you have to look at each and every one, which takes lots of energy. So that was one of the first things we did, make sure that they only work with active incidents. Anything else should be closed. And we also work on aged incidents a lot, making sure that they don't lie around forever, that we work on fresh things, which is good both for them but also for the end user, of course, that the end user doesn't have to sit and wait for weeks and weeks and weeks for a resolution.
And I could also mention that what we saw prior to what we could present, we could see service providers present an improved service quality, because they were just looking at what landed on them in their queue. But if you consider that you want the majority of tickets to be solved as early as possible, first line, they were not looking at that. And when we looked at that, the service quality was actually getting worse with 30%. And they were telling us that it was getting better and better. So many of those things were things that we could give that we didn't have before.
Excellent. So what are your key takeaways from your SIAM journey?
Based on our experience, take on the role, the service integrator role yourself internally, because you will understand your perspective, you can express your requirements and expectations, because you have them, you own them.
And I think expect value, expect more from your vendors, and if you have a service integrator, then expect more from them also. Don't just take what they deliver just because they think that they've been delivering it all the time. Don't expect that. Expect more, so you get more value from them.
Well, I think you've proved your point by delivering quickly
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Amazing.
We cut down the presentation time with about 50% also.
Effective, efficient, on time, under budget. So I've got a couple more questions, if that's okay, and then we'll go to the audience to see if anyone... Yeah, you're not getting away now. As you just said, it's not break time yet. So I'm interested in the people side of the changes that you made. So the decision that was taken at first to outsource, and then the decision you made to insource. How did your colleagues react to that? Were they able to absorb that change? Did they understand what you were aiming to achieve? Did the suppliers understand what was happening? How did you persuade and explain and communicate the changes that you were making?
We weren't involved at all. We were just asked to do things, and we haven't. I mean, we didn't really insource. It's just us that were insourced. Everything else is still outsourced.
I mean, the external service integrators that were a result of the SCIAM project, which was sort of the challenges that we had initially, as I said, gave birth to that idea, but then we had a completely new IT organization, and much of those ideas were lost during this journey. So I think that we realized that we were not given what we hoped for initially, and so we started to work on establishing a sort of baseline and promoting, to ask for and to sort of elicit our ambitions, to understand what we wanted to see. So when we started that and to ask for that, that gave birth to the idea to take on this role internally. Yeah.
So would you say your end users feel the service is improved now because you've taken control of that service?
I think there was also someone else and made an earlier presentation to say that it's hard to measure and show sometimes if you have something that's bad and then you make it up to good again to people's expectations, people won't come and say, wow, how great things are. They won't even notice. For instance, if trains are always late and then they suddenly start coming on time, people are just happy that they come on time and then they go to work instead of sitting and being angry and calling in. So it's hard to measure, I think, but we slowly see people slowly start saying that they're starting to complain about other things than the IT services now. So that's it's gone from less complaints than you say.
Yeah, and we have shared the dashboard with management around us, and they have really appreciated it and started to sort of refer to it. And we have also heard from our union rep that we actually talked to. They were really happy, and they had sort of observed really amazing results. And so that was really great to hear from, because we had some issues before. But we are looking at and sharing this view with a sort of initially service quality, support quality, and service delivery quality, and we have added also perceived quality, and looking at how the end users understand. But they are. We see that it's appreciated.
Yeah, we're trying to sort of push out the message that we're actually improving things. We're showing that the resolution times are much lower now, etc., etc. So it's like lobbying that maybe or persuasion. Sooner or later they will actually start realizing that what we're saying is true.
Fantastic! It's a great story.
Yeah, and what we saw before was these discrete values, so no one understood them. But now we have made this visible for everyone to see, and it's like sort of running average graphs where you can see that things are on a good trajectory, pointing in the right direction. So it's Yeah.
Did you get the support you needed to be able to implement this new way of working?
I think so, yeah. We had pretty much free hands because everyone are busy with other things. So like, yeah, well, we need Siam probably, so we paid all this money for the project, so let's do it. And we've been sort of, yeah, we've had good support, I'd say. Thank you for those who are watching. And now they're seeing the fruits coming from it also, that we're actually doing a great job. And it's easy to say that, but it's also you can show it on the numbers.
Yeah, that is, I mean, something that we are thankful for, that we actually can refer to quantitative data and present objective data, but also subjective end-user from end-user surveys, so that is also good.
So what's next? You've introduced your SIAM model. You two are doing your jobs. What's your next step?
Well, we're still in the journey. We're still doing and improving and implementing things. We have a backlog of close to 100 improvements that we still need to do. And that's one of the cool things with how we work is that I notice things in the operational part and Michael's working the process part, but we're in the same meetings. It's just that we're sort of having a little bit different responsibilities. But we have lots of improvements we still want to do, and what we're hoping for is that this gets known, that we're actually doing a good job and that SIAM is a good thing, and hopefully we'll lift it even more so that our CIO will start using this knowledge as well.
Yeah, we have improved lead times, we have improved resolution times significantly. Things that we are going to work with is a sort of service structure and making the product owners and also the service owners more involved in the way services are presented and valuing that.
Seems like they're also starting to see the financial value in this, that when resolution times and incident volumes are going down, do we really need to pay the same amount of money to the service desk? For instance, we're also working on improving and automation. So yeah, they're still getting about 1,000 or 2,000 calls or whatever per month, but most of it is handled automatically, or maybe it's request. But so they're starting to see, are we not right side, but right paying? Are we paying the or maybe now when we have a new contract, maybe do we really need to pay this much money?
Exactly. I mean, when we have a third of the incidents that we had before, I mean, then we can sort of question staffing and thinking also a bit about how we can make use of that capacity in a better way.
Yeah, because the vendors, of course, they don't report that in such a way. They don't highlight that. Oh, look, we're doing less work for the same money.
Fantastic. Do we have any questions from the audience?
It sounds like you've had an amazing journey with some great outcomes and interesting conversation about getting people on outcomes. But going back, is there anything that you wish you'd have known then that would have made your journey much easier to enable you to get those outcomes that you could share, reflecting backwards?
I'd say, like everyone else, that's a great question. Personally, I think we've had a fantastic journey. That we started with knowing nothing, but we used our common experience and knowledge from so many years and just applied best common sense knowledge and then we learned about SIAM really, and we see that it was all it all fits into SIAM. as it is. So we didn't do anything wrong or bad or nothing we need to fix as such. So no, not really. Maybe it would have been great to know about Scion beforehand.
Exactly. I mean, in the when taking on the Scion project, of course, having this experience at that time would have made us sort of shortening the project and also maybe having different requirements on what we wanted to see come out of it.
We're still learning as we go.
Good.
Hi there, this is Marcus. I can very well relate to what you discussed because I also had the pleasure to integrate with an internal integrator, and one of the things at a certain point that happened to us is there was this, oh good, someone else does it for us now. This, suppliers said, oh, another team, we can delegate to them. So obviously my team and I had to learn to stay on top, governing the suppliers instead of stepping in for their bad performance. And so I understand from your conversation it was the KPIs and the measurement that makes the difference. Was there anything else that helped you to govern them in a good way?
Collaboration, of course, and that was, providing a common view that could be shared, that made collaboration possible. Because then we could feel that we didn't need to, but of course, in a more complex multi-sourcing service provider environment, you need collaboration agreements and whatever. But we saw that the service provider tended to collaborate based on what they knew that we wanted to see. Because when the curves were pointing in the wrong direction, they realized that they should provide something else.
And yeah, that's a good point, Michael. And someone else presented about they reviewed the contracts. And yes, we might want to do that also, but the good thing is that, like Michael said, our vendors actually started collaborating also. We had one vendor which was a bit reluctant at first, but now they're all on the train or on the plane. Maybe we should say we're in the same plane moving forward. So the need to actually review the contracts might be there, but it's just formality because everyone is actually collaborating really well, I'd say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. Sounds amazing. You've worked really hard and it sounds like a great outcome. We'd like to thank you.
That's
for
it.
Your
We survived.
We did it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Michael.